Who would win between Yuta Okkotsu and Toji Zenin? Yuta Okkotsu has been shown to be immensely strong character, able to compete with the best of the best, and is known to be the second strongest Jujutsu sorcerer behind Satoru Gojo. As it stands, he is one of the pillars of the Jujutsu world and a representation of the strongest modern day Jujutsu sorcerer. But the man that defies that, the man who hates this, is none other than Toji Fushiguro, the zero curse energy user, the monkey who has access to key 5 senses, and the man to try and take down Jujutsu sorcery from the very top of the food chain. This video will look into the methods each character would go through to try and win and come out as a victor. Usu! What's up guys, my name is GXL. Quickly press the like button for me. You know, I want to aim around 110 likes and I'll believe you guys can do it. So subscribe if you're new also. And let's get into the video to see who's the strongest between Yuta Okkotsu and Toji Fushiguro. Now, let's look at Yuta Okkotsu, the special grade sorcerer. It's no secret Yuta's power with Rika is insane, especially in the department of cursed energy. Yuta Okkotsu is capable of reaching extraordinary speeds and has been highlighted a few times in the series, specifically against Geto and Yuji. He claims the physical capabilities that he has is all amplified by cursed energy. Excluding Rika, Yuta Okkotsu has a great volume of cursed energy that makes it even more than Satoru Gojo. Although this is the case, in the words of Ishiguro, his cursed energy output isn't all that. This stems from a man with the highest known cursed energy output in Jujutsu Kaisen so far in the Culling Games as we've seen. But that's obviously compensated with the amount of cursed energy that he has, so he's able to do a lot of attacks. When it comes to using his cursed energy, he's also able to use cursed techniques, and one of those would be the reverse curse technique. That would come in handy quite a lot, and due to the fact that it has the ability to attack cursed spirits and with positive energy and heal himself in the process. This has definitely helped a lot of times during the Culling Games, especially when he was in the Sendai colony fighting against Yuro, Druve, Kuroshi and Ishiguro. In addition to his cursed techniques, he's able to call out Rika, who is able to store up cursed energy for him and also able to store cursed tools. This can only last a total of 5 minutes, but it can still cause him to be a threat. Techniques that he is able to copy as far as we know are Cursed Speech, Yuro's ability to manipulate the sky, and Druve's ability to change the trajectory of domains. Rika is also shown to have durability, able to withstand Ishiguro's granite blast, as well as Yuta doing the same. In fact, it says that Rika could be stronger in that case, making Rika very powerful. Now let's look into the type of fighting style that Yuta Okkotsu has. So, he's a fan of up close hand-to-hand combat. When engaging with opponents, it seems his speciality is to get up close and fight. It seems that he is a very big fan of the hand-to-hand combat, and he's done it a lot against Ishiguro and also against Yuro. He highlights a lot, even in the fight against Ishiguro, that he needs to be very well guarded, because if he gets hit, he will definitely take damage. Before using Rika, Yuta reaches the bottom of the cursed energy pretty much after around maybe 3 to 4 heavy hitters and cursed techniques. To wear him down fully, that takes quite a while. When Rika is involved, Yuta Okkotsu can increase his capacity of cursed energy as well as regenerate the lost cursed energy, bringing him back to how he was prior to the fight. This is due to Yuta Okkotsu having the ability to store his cursed energy and take it out selectively. In top of his versatile kit, Yuta Okkotsu has a domain expansion. The details of the domain expansion is currently unknown, but can most definitely be seen as powerful, and with the addition of Rika, it can pose a great threat. Whether it can confine inanimate objects or not, it's a completely different story. So what we can get from Yuta Okkotsu is the ability to copy people's techniques, the ability to use the copy techniques that he has stored from before, the ability to use the new stored cursed energy that Rika is holding up, the ability to be able to use a reverse curse technique, and the fact that he's able to have a completely different level of speed compared to a lot of sorcerers makes him a very formidable opponent. Now let's look into another monster, Toji Fushiguro. Toji Fushiguro, born into the Zenin clan and left on his own accord, the man that almost killed Satoru Gojo and spared Geto. First, we have to talk about what does zero curse energy actually mean. In a battle, Toji is difficult to detect. This means that when fighting, every punch, every attack cannot be detected by the sorcerers, as there is no indication on what their next moves would be. You have to almost guess what he's going to do, similar to what Gojo did, and this made him vulnerable to more attacks. In addition, Toji's senses and physical prowess are all enhanced. This includes his smell, his power, his instincts and his battle IQ. These are things that make him more of a threat and could cause a lot of issues towards his opponents. In the fight between Toji and Megami, the speed at which Megumi was thrown by Toji was actually rivaled to be the 3-finger Sukuna that he fought from before. Whether you think this speed is concrete or not, it'll be up to you, but there's later on something I'm going to mention that would be able to kind of show that Toji is a bit faster than you think. The Zero Curse energy is further enhanced with the use of cursed weapons. Toji carries things that helps with long range and short range combat. He has his cursed spirit to be able to keep all the weapons. The most effective of them all would be the inverted spirit of heaven. This technique would nullify any cursed technique available and would erase them from the field completely. This is shown with the infinity becoming pointless and he managed to stab Gojo through his neck. His power was expressed to be ridiculous by Dagon, and as he destroys the swarming number of fishes, he was getting so fast to the point he was actually running on water. The reason he was able to defeat and obliterate Dagon was not because the weapon was not strong enough, but it was because of his pure power. So this is gonna be me using Maki as a reference point since they're both seen as similar. Now, we know Maki is a great representation, and it will allow us to understand how strong Toji will be able to match up in the current age of the Cooling Games. Maki vs Naoya Zenin is a great representation of that. Now, before the Toji and Maki are not the same comments come in, it is stated that Maki is fully realized, and earlier in the Shibuya arc, Megumi also referenced Toji as Maki but fully realized. That's not including the amount of comparisons we've had between Toji and Maki continuously throughout the series. Now, as we know, Naoya Zenin can use projection sorcery, which can pretty much make him the fastest cursed spirit that existed. He's definitely faster than sound, and Maki is able to maneuver and attack / counter at the speed of sound. Toji would also be able to hide to regenerate his wounds since it would be difficult to detect him in the process. Also, with further development, it seems that Toji Fushiguro can actually move at Mach 3 speed when it comes to getting away from Naoya Zenin and also reacting. The reason that this is the case, because it's shown that Naoya was using the same move again to be able to try and catch Maki in the process and complaining why he's not fast enough to do so. That is not including the fact that Maki was not fully healed. In addition, the ability Toji has to see the differences in temperature, air density and create scattered surfaces is second to none, the same as Maki. On top of all of this, we then have the Soul Liberation Blade. This is another tool in the hands of Toji Fushiguro that he keeps within his cursed spirit. This is said to be able to cut the soul and many hard substances only when it is wielded fully with the full power, and your eyes have to be able to even observe the organic matter and their souls. But all of these things and weapons and everything that he has will be undetectable just due to his cursed spirit being able to hide these things. This is going to be a very useful thing, especially against someone like Yuta Okkotsu. Now, considering the power, the speed, the abilities and weapons from the opponents we have just witnessed, let's see who would win between the boundless energy user Yuta Okkotsu and the zero cursed energy monkey Toji Zenin. Now, this is going to be without prior knowledge, because I think if there was prior knowledge, something does tell me Toji would win. I mean, he is the Batman. And if we're talking about without prior knowledge, Yuta Okkotsu and Toji would be neck and neck. As Toji moves on the field, Yuta will struggle to keep up due to the fact that he's not able to detect him. This is an opponent that he's never fought before and wouldn't even realize if he's hit him or not, similar to how he was against Yuji, as he kind of struggled to find out if he actually hit him or if he didn't. I think due to the situation, Yuta Okkotsu will call out Rika straight away, and in doing so, he would have multiple eyes and be able to be saved from behind if Yuta Okkotsu doesn't realize it. Rika will. The reason I say this is because when Yuta Okkotsu is by himself, especially when he was fighting Kuroroshi and he wasn't using the reverse curse technique or other things to help him in this case, he was struggling a little bit and he was actually almost on the brink of death. But because of the fact that he's a cursed spirit and he used the positive curse energy to actually hit into him, he was able to cause some damage. But that was very fortunate that he wasn't relentlessly attacked by the life or death blade. Yuta will try and do some long range attacks, whether to clear the area and space or be able to hit Toji, which I think would be very difficult due to the fact that his output is not all that much, as Ishiguri said during their fight. Yuta was also impressed with Maki and the hand-to-hand combat very consistently, and is similar to Maki but on a completely different scale. The utilization of cursed speech would be very important in this fight. In fact, I would say it's probably the most, because being able to stop his movement and keep on his tracks would allow Yuta Okkotsu to relentlessly barrage him with punches or attacks needed to kill Toji. But he has to make sure that he does it in a not so obvious way, because Toji Fushiguro has been shown to be able to escape these situations like he did against Gojo when he did his technique. And also, as you can see with Yuro, she almost reacted to be able to cover her ears, but unfortunately it wasn't in time. But someone like Toji, who relies even on instinct more than others, he would probably be able to smell something fishy and react faster. When it comes down to battle IQ and adapting to the situation, you can see that Yuta Okkotsu is really good at this, especially when it comes to knowing when he can use his abilities and when not to. Whereas Toji Fushiguro does have a lot of experience in his hands. Not only is he older, but he's been through more fights and he's an assassin dealing with different types of people. So his battle IQ would be pretty high. When he was facing Gojo, as soon as he hit him with the red, he already knew how he wanted to fight against each and every attack of Gojo's, except the one that he didn't see coming. So as soon as Yuta does a move, he'll be able to adapt to the situation if it's not too late and he's not already dead. As you can see, his durability is kind of strong, because when he got hit with the red, he was able to tank it and survive. It's very hard to hit him, but if you are able to hit him, he does have toughness in terms of physicality. And not only that, you can see that's the same with Maki Zenin, as she got hit with a charged up Mach 3 attack by Naiwa Zenin, and although knocked out, was able to recover pretty quickly. Now the question is, how would Yuta Okkotsu counter the Soul Liberation Blade? Now this is a blade that if you get hit, especially by someone like Toji Fushiguro, it would pretty much be all over. And if you guys want me to be honest, this would mean Toji Fushiguro has to stab him with the Soul Liberation Blade almost instantaneously. Now this is not as difficult as you may think it is, due to the fact that he can quickly pull out the weapons from the pocket of the cursed spirit and attack him quickly. Now the question is, would they be able to kill Rika if Rika was able to come in? It probably would make her immobile for a long time and maybe run out the 5 minutes. And if that's not the case, it might seem like the inverted spear would be the one to do so. If he hits Yuta Okkotsu with the inverted spear, it might stop his curse technique from being used, meaning that Rika will disappear, or it would mean that Rika will come in the way and save him in the process, and then the curse technique would then shed through. And still on the topic of the Soul Liberation Blade, it seems like you can't even clash. Because if Yuta Okkotsu uses a katana, it does say that it can cut through most substances, and I'm assuming that that would mean that that would include any weapons that try and come in its way. Since it can cut the soul, it seems like that wouldn't be very difficult for someone like Maki or Toji in this case. That would require him to almost have to dodge everything that Toji Fushiguro does, and that would be very difficult considering how fast Toji Fushiguro actually is. And that's not even including the fact that he can manipulate himself if he's in the air to try and get away from Rika, or just in terms of dodging attacks. Now it does seem like I don't have a lot of things for Yuta to be able to win, but one thing that is guaranteed is the fact that he's going to be able to use some of his copy techniques. Now, if he's able to adjust certain situations, for example using Yuro's manipulation of the sky to be able to stop certain attacks. Although I said curse speech before, he does have Drew's technique to be able to change the trajectories of domains, but I don't know how effective that would actually be against Toji. If Yuta Okkotsu ended up getting Granite Blast, that might change the game a little bit more, because he'll be able to shoot it while being able to have Rika also attacking from a different angle. That would be very powerful. And just to let you guys know, in the Viz translation, it says that Rika is the curse technique, meaning that means they're susceptible to the inverted spear of heaven. Whereas on the other hand, if you look at the TCB scans, Rika is just an external storage. But you know, based on this video, we're gonna go with the official Viz scans, just because you know that's the one that's the most trustworthy. So it does mean Rika would actually be susceptible to the inverted spear of heaven, and that would make her disappear in the process while fighting Toji Fushiguro. And that will be based on if he figures it out and if he thinks this is the right way to go. And that will allow him to be able to create a 1v1 versus Yuta Okkotsu, which will be very much difficult for Yuta because he doesn't know how to navigate against Toji Fushiguro or has shown any feats or things to support the fact that he can blast him away in one blow. It's going to seem like he's going to use some hand-to-hand combat and try and be smart with it, but it will definitely be harder because Toji Fushiguro is a veteran, especially when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. So really and truly, what comes down to this fight is, will Yuta Okkotsu be able to identify Toji's threat, and would he call Rika straight away? In the Sendai colony, it looks like it took a while for him to call Rika, and also it looked like it took a while to call Rika when it was against Yuji as well. It seems like a common theme that he takes a little bit of time to fight the opponent and feel them out before he calls Rika, so how quick he calls Rika would be very important. If Toji Fushiguro is going to fight him, is he going to use the Soul Liberation Blade if he wants to make sure Rika is gone, because he's not sure the inverted spear of heaven would work. The only reason that he wasn't using it against Gojo Sensei like that is due to the fact that the Infinity would not be able to allow the Soul Liberation Blade to cut through, which is why he had to use other weapons that were more smarter. Because if he wanted to kill Gojo directly, he would have aimed for the soul. But against Yuta Okkotsu, it seems with the help of Rika, his strategy might change completely to be able to cut her through. This is a very difficult fight, and Yuta Okkotsu definitely does show why he is the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, and Toji Zenin, after his further developments through Maki Zenin, has shown that he poses much more of a threat than you think. If we are not including the harsh attacks that Toji can use when it comes to using the Soul Liberation Blade, then that means that Yuta Okkotsu will be able to reverse curse technique anything that is thrown at him. Even if Toji Fushiguro decides to use the fly heads and maybe hit him without the Soul Liberation Blade, Yuta Okkotsu will be able to withstand that, and he actually has to cut Yuta Okkotsu down to be able to get him down to a brink of health or a brink of cursed energy, so then he knows that, yep, now I'm about to win. But the Soul Liberation Blade completely negates that and completely destroys the fact that any opportunity to be able to reverse curse technique. As we can see with Mahito, when Mahito changes your soul, you cannot reverse curse technique that. So similar to if your soul is cut, I think it's safe to assume that you won't be able to use reverse curse technique to save yourself. So in conclusion, as you can kind of tell as the video is going, I believe Toji Fushiguro would be able to finesse Yuta Okkotsu in this situation. I feel like he has a lot of counters towards Rika. I know down in the comments down below you guys might be going a bit crazy, but I do actually think if you really think about it and everyone's toolkit, Toji has a lot of feats and things to support the fact that he'll be able to beat Yuta Okkotsu, and it will definitely be a battle where it can go either way. It's just that if I had to guess, I would say Toji Fushiguro. Honestly, I genuinely believe that if Yuta Okkotsu is able to finish Toji with using Unumaki's technique, that is the best way for him to do so and be able to just slice him or use any of the curse tools that he has in his inventory to cut him up and finish the battle. Because Toji Fushiguro's skin is also tough, and it's also very difficult to damage him because he's very durable, especially since you got hit with the red. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling on. I just want to make sure that, you know, you guys know my reasoning as to why I'm choosing Toji Fushiguro, and that's pretty much it. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, comment down below who you think you'll win, and I want to see your perspective. And yeah, as I say to the new people that come and visit the channel, Jana.